5. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English news edition brought to you live from RTD channel. The headlines for tonight are: opening of the meeting of the Council of Ministers of the League of Arab States in Tehran. And on the international scene, US, UK and France launched military strikes on Syria. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation spokesperson of the government, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, participated in the meeting of the councils of the League Arab State at the level of foreign ministers, which took place on Thursday afternoon at Riyadh as a prelude to the 29th Arab Summit scheduled for Sunday tomorrow in Tehran, Eastern Saudi Arabia. Several political, diplomatic as well as security issues in the region have been on the agenda, including the Palestinian cause and the Syria's development in the holy city of Al-Quds, Arab security, economic as well as social challenges, the political crisis in Syria, Libya, Yemen, as well as the current Arab as well regional issues. The meeting also considered a number of resolutions and projects to be submitted to the Arab Summit, including the report of the previous summit in Jordan, the activity of the follow-up body of the implementation of the resolution and commitment of the report of the Secretary on Arab Common Actions. The head of the Djiboutian diplomacy was accompanied by a large delegation, including the ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti in Cairo and a permanent representative to the League Arab, Mohammed Duhur Hirsi, as well the ambassador of Djibouti to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Diaidin Bamakrama. The 29th Arab Summit in the Tehran city, Eastern Saudi Arabia, has much to tackle on April 15 tomorrow, with the various issues of political, economic as well social urgency tablet for discussion. Arab leaders and international figures alike will have to discuss over topics that are significant to the region and to the world. Palestine, the object of a new military repression by Israel these days. Syria, theater of Western strikes since last night, the political situation in Libya, the crisis in Yemen, and among others. All the problems on the agenda in the Arab world will be discussed within the summit. The whole issue of this meeting will therefore be to create an internal mechanism of conciliation or deliberation for possible dispute between member countries. This situation is likely to contribute to the development of a renewed confidence of the member countries to their organization. It is also likely to have the emergence of greater solidarity and cohesion of the organization and the world political as well as diplomatic bodies. During the summit, member countries will discuss the strategic partnership that nations maintain in a number of key areas, including economic development and military cooperation. An important Djiboutian delegation, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the ambassadors of Djibouti in Cairo, as well as Saudi Arabia, participate at the 29th Summit of the Arab League in Tehran in Saudi Arabia. And after the vote of the National Assembly last Monday and pending the promulgation of 6 bills that should intervene, according to our information, Sunday, April 15 tomorrow, the phase of awareness and mobilization of the administrations concerned by the reform began this morning at the Sheraton Hotel. The Minister of Justice, Moumin Ahmed Sheikh, officially launched the automation of the court of proceeding of the Court of For Instance. The Djibouti computer consulting company known as Degole, who designed the application, has made a detailed presentation for the benefits of the participant from the Justice Department. The latter, represented by the Bar President Dini and Martinet lawyer, the Djibouti Bar, participate in the drafting of the Civil Code and the the civil procedures. In a speech delivered on the occasion, the Minister of welcomed the establishment of the new information system and the implementation of the two code civilians as well as civil proceedings. The Minister stated that automation responds to a concern for modernization, transparency, shorter judgment as well traceability of proceedings. And as part of the friendly relation between the Republic of Djibouti and the French Republic, Army Corps Commander Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Army Forces, accompanied by a large delegation, officially visit Paris from 10 to 11 April at the invitation of General François Lecointre, Chief of Staff of the French armies. On his arrival at Charles de Gaulle Airport, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim and his delegation were welcomed by the ambassador of Djibouti in Paris, Moussaid Yahya, and several officers of the General Staff of the French Army Forces. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Army Forces, and his delegation were received with all the honors by General Lecointre, Chief of Staff of the Army Forces, during an exceptional ceremony. And after the military honors and the review of the troops composed of the three armies, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim has reviewed the troops. Indeed, this is the first official visit of the Djiboutian Chief of General Staff in Paris since the accession of our country to independence. Let's note that this encounter took place in the presence of Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed, Deputy Chief of the Defense Staff, Colonel Major Mohammed Qayad Gili, Head of the Logistic Division of the Djiboutian Army Forces, Colonel Wagdi Jama' Moussa, Head of the Regiment of the Headquarters Regiment, as well Head of the Djiboutian Army Forces Protocol, Commander Mohammed Qayad Najmi, as well as officials of the French Army Forces, including the former commander of the FFDG, General Philippe Montocchio. Discussion between the two staffs, the two chiefs of staff, focus on bilateral cooperation. General Lecointre expressed his gratitude to the Republic of Djibouti for all the facilities it offers to the FFDG, which is the largest French base in Africa. Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim did not fail to thank the French Army Forces Chief of Staff for the invitation and warm welcome for his delegation that was provided. Subsequently, he did not fail to emphasize the friendship as well as the cooperation between the Army Forces and the FFDG, recalling that France remained one of its main allies of the Republic of Djibouti. The two chiefs of staff also shared their perception of regional security issues. Lecointre held the commitment of the Djiboutian Army Forces in the mission of the African Union in Somalia. He praised also on the occasion the operational cooperation between the FFDG and the Djiboutian Army Forces, building on the mutual trust on which our cooperation ties are based. The two chiefs of staff are committed to advance this already rich cooperation. General Lecointre offered to Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Djiboutian Army Forces, a former purpose of the 5th Requiem, a cap of tradition of the Marine troops. And on the sidelines of this official mission, Army Corps General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Army Forces, met successively Army General Benoit Puga, Grand Chancellor of the Legion of Honor, and Jean-Jacques Bridley, Chairman of the Defense Committee of the French National Assembly. The Semga was first received by General Benoit Puga, a Grand Chancellor of the Legion of Honor. This encounter took place at the Great Chancellery of France in Paris. Honorary institutions, the Great Chancellery of France distinguish those who by their talents and their dedication work throughout France and the promotion of its value, each of its field, both civilian as well military. During this meeting, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim did not fail to recall the excellent relation between the Republic of Djibouti and France since his accession to the independence, and that his visit reinforced these links of fraternity. For his part, Army General Benoit Puga said he was delighted and honored by the presence of Semga Djiboutian, and expressed his gratitude to the Republic of Djibouti for the assistance to French soldier stationed on his soil. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim was then privileged to attend a guided tour of the museum retracing the history of the great Chancery of France. Then General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim had a brief discussion with Jean-Jacques Bridet, President of the Defense Committee at the National Assembly of Paris. The discussion focused on the role of France in the region and the strengthening of the exceptional collaboration between our two countries. For his part, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim reassured the Republic of Djibouti will always remain an essential support of the international community in its quest for the consolidation of peace and global security. And this visit to Paris ended with an official meal organized by the French Chief of Staff at Quartier Bailard State, measured the armed forces in honor of its hosts and colleague from Djibouti. Army Corps General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim and his delegation have taken part at the official launch. Ambassador of Djibouti in France, Dia and Ayed Mouyed Yahya, and the high responsible of the state major of the French army. On last Thursday, April 12, the Rwandan community of Djibouti met to commemorate the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. The commemorative event was held at the Sheraton Hotel in Djibouti. Speaking on the occasion, the chargé d'affaires of the Rwandan embassy in Djibouti with residence in Addis Ababa, Philippe Karinzi, declared that the 1994 genocide against Tutsi did not occur abruptly but was a subject of systematic preparation over a long period. The genocide against the Tutsi was not an accident. It was the result of a divisive politics planted in society over a long period of time, and also of a negative external influence. So we must be on our guard against the ideology of a genocide resulting from attempts to distort facts and revolution. He said. He further stated that Rwandans refuse to be destroyed, remain united, and now are a reconciled people. In her message, the representative of the government of Djibouti, Mrs. Hayat Musa, director in charge of bilateral cooperation, for her part, declared that what happened in Rwanda should never be repeated in Africa. I wish to express my government's solidarity with people and government of Rwanda as we remember the innocent lives lost in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, and my government stands with the Rwandans during this time of mourning in their efforts to rebuild their country, as she said. The commemorative ceremony was organized by the Rwandan embassy in Djibouti with the residents in Addis Ababa in collaboration with the government of Djibouti and the Rwandan community residing in Djibouti. About 200 people attended the event, including members of the diplomatic corps, representative of the international organization, as well members of the Rwandan community residing in Djibouti. The Teacher Training Center for Basic Education launched this week for the second consecutive year the administration as well observation of classroom session in mathematics and IGMA test in a basic school of the capital and regions. The CFFEF Executive Director Asha Farah El-Tire sent a team to oversee this test in the school selected as a sample. This team, led by the Director of Training, Educational Innovation and Partnership, Awali Abdul Qadir Hirsi, is composed of Mustafa Jama, Head of Educational Resources, and Ataban Simbu, International Expert, went this morning in the second year classes of Balbala School. The objective of this IGMA test, an international standard in mathematics education, in basic education, are to identify the strengths and weaknesses of our mathematician, reasoning to diagnosis training needs, and to reinforce teacher competencies and their supervision, and also to be able to measure the impact of training on teachers and their classroom practices. Heavy rains fell in the region yesterday morning. Rainfall covers the whole area of the unit town, including Dakhil city and its surrounding cities known as Maloud, Sabir and Gorabous. The prefect of Dakhil informed that several wadis are in flood and the circulation was difficult in the day of yesterday on the national road number 1 between Djibouti and Galafi. No major damage is reported except for an Ethiopian truck overturned by the flood of Wadi at the level of Maloud, where the number 1 crosses the Wadi bed. To this end, the prefect of the region of Dakhil, Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, has communicated yesterday that the traffic on the corridor was blocked since yesterday morning on the 2 points, namely the Wadi Gorabous and Wadi Maloud, which were in strong floods. The prefect of Dakhil asked drivers of trucks and light vehicles to double vigilance to avoid any accident and not to venture into the beds of flooded Wadi, especially during this rainy season. The various transit and transport companies are called upon to immobilize their trucks and other vehicles at PK12, Bara as well Galafi till further notice. In the Tajura regions now, the Al-Fawza Association distributed books for the strengthening of the CDC library. This collection of books to be donated by the Al-Fawza Association is intended to inspire young people through the journey of reading and to remedy their illness, and also to bring to the CDC one more reason to improve the attendance of young readers. The event having seen the participation of senior representatives of the state and civil society. He was on the front line, Deputy Prefect, Regional Council, Vice President, Head of the CDC High School, Headmaster and writer Hamad Gaba, as well as a representative of various of the Tajura Association and other guests of the brand. The distribution took place in a friendly atmosphere and the competent authorities received it with jubilation and enthusiasm. And in the context of the fight against illegal immigration, on the night of April 13, the gendarme of the mobile group station at the Lac Asal post again conducted a wrecking operation in the sector of Kusur. During this operation, the gendarme arrested 154 illegal migrants, including 8 women, all from Ethiopian origin and wishing to go to the Gulf countries. These migrants received humanitarian as well assistance in water and food from the gendarmerie, and at the end they were renewed on the border of Galilee with the royal wings of the national gendarmerie. And now on the international scene, United States, British as well as French forces launched military airstrikes on multiple government targets. Reports.
The British and French forces launched military airstrikes on multiple government targets in Syria earlier on Saturday in response to a suspected chemical weapons attack that killed dozens of people last week. The intervention is the PS by Western powers against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in the country's 7-year civil war and pitted the US and its allies against Russia. In a television address from the White House, Trump said, "A short time ago, I ordered the United States Armed Forces to launch precision."
A Palestinian man has died in clashes and more than 223 were wounded by gunfire along Gaza's border with Israel as thousands protested for a third consecutive Friday. Details in this report.
A Palestinian man has died in clashes and more than 223 were wounded by gunfire along Gaza's border with Israel as thousands protested for a third consecutive Friday. Israel forces have killed 35 Palestinians since the violence began March 30.
So that's it for the news. Thanks for being with us on RTD channel.